All right, going short NASDAQ. Originally targeting a set of relative equal lows that are right above the new week opening gap low. I saw that as a likely area that price would want to disrupt. And after 7:30, we had this massive run up. We traded above the new week opening gap, consequent encroachment, up to the upper quadrant of that new week opening gap and failed to close above it. So I figured that manipulation was price running up to get traders caught going long, and that we would want lower prices. I changed that later on to that 15-minute gap that I have labeled. So I'm entering off of a breaker on a 1-minute chart, as well as we also have a bearish fair value gap within that breaker. So I'm treating it like a unicorn, almost in a sense. And we also have fair value gaps to the left of my entry that I want to see used as inversion fair value gaps. So I'm a little impatient on the entry of this trade. And I could have waited a little bit to enter when price traded closer to that breaker, but I'm also, because I like to enter off of inversion fair value gaps for the most part, when I entered, I was looking at that BISI that was to the left of that breaker that formed around I would say 8:10. This trade took a while. I entered during the 8:50, just after the 8:50 9:10 macro. But I was in this trade for well over an hour. And here you can see me marking that 15-minute fair value gap is a more reasonable target. I believe those relative equal lows that are right above that new week opening gap low that we had just formed, I believe that was something like 157 points for my entry. So mid trade, I'm like, oh wait, it's a little too much. I mean, we could head there, but it's also late. I had just got back from traveling, and I didn't want to hold for the duration of that. Looking at the way price was, it was a little slow. And that happens with Asia a lot. I didn't want to sit through that entire movement. So and during this trade, we actually were trading within, I believe, 3 macros. So a longer trade than I'm used to, or that I would like, but I'm only trading with 1 micro contract. I handled my risk well for this trade. I'm proud of my risk management and my adjustments. You'll see later in the trade. We also, if you look at right above that 15-minute fair value gap that I have highlighted in that baby blue, there is a set of relative equal lows. You see that long wick right next to where I have labeled more reasonable low-hanging fruit. There's that wick low, and I would say that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, maybe like 8 or 9 candles to the left of it. We have another wick that's a little bit lower than that long wick. So I'm treating that as a draw as well on liquidity, or a draw on price, excuse me. I have my stop placed a few handles above the breaker mean threshold and that fair value gap inside the breaker. And so now we're about to enter that second macro, that's 950 to 1010. I like this displacement here. So I'm at here. I adjust my stop a little bit. I'm really focused on that left side of the chart. I want to see those BISIs that we had formed around 8 o'clock. I want to see those be disrespected and to act as inversion fair value gaps. Here I'm just measuring where the 50% mark is from my entry to terminus, because my thought process is once we clear that 50% level and we close below it, I'm going to adjust my stop to break even. But yeah, I'm paying attention mostly to the left side of the chart here. I want to see those BISIs act as resistance. I'm labeling a fair value gap here. I want to see this act as resistance as well. I want price to stay in the lower half of it. It was nice being away from the chart, I'm not gonna lie. I had a wedding, I was in Mexico, and I feel really refreshed, rejuvenated, especially with everything going on in the Middle East. I'm going to kind of take it easy this week, coming back into the charts. Gonna more than likely just be trading with one micro. So I like how we are staying below that fair value gap. Slowly easing my stop. Move my stop down. So now price is flirting with that BISI that's on the left side of the chart. Again, I'm mostly paying attention to that. I'm paying attention to that left side of the chart, as well as this bearish fair value gap that we had formed, that I have outlined in red or light red. I like how we are refusing to trade back into it, refusing to trade into the upper half. Asia for me has been a great place to trade. It doesn't move as fast as New York AM session, so it's just a little less stressful. Of course, I want to not just trade Asia. I would like to trade the New York AM session, but if especially as I develop, you see that reaction with the consequent closer to the fair value gap, we reach up to it, we fail to close above it, and we get rejected down. I like that. I want to see that. But anyway, Asia is a great place to kind of trade. It's a little less stressful than the New York AM session. It's a great, I guess, I treat it like a training ground for me. I get to trade. I don't have these wild movements. It's a little boring, yes, and like today, this trade took over an hour, but it forces me to just stay calm and be patient and watch these trades play out. And it's a great way for me to annotate my charts and and study and look back at what price did. So my risk is roughly around $20. We had originally started with around a little above $54 risk, and we've adjusted our risk. Now we're only trading $20, which is, I mean, it's less than, very, very less than half of 1%. So that's good. Again, I want price to move below this 50% level that I have marked. Yep, and at that point, we close below that 50% between entry and terminus, so I remove my risk. At this point, I'm starting to get a little tired. It's getting late, and we had just finished traveling, so I adjust my stop to right above that 15-minute fair value gap. Price eventually hit those relative equal lows that we have down at 24,712 and a half. But I would have had to be up on that trade for a while, and I just didn't want to do it. I was just a little too tired. So you see me annotating that fair value gap from the left side of the chart. I want that to act as resistance. I want price to close below it. And one thing I will say is that, if you're not reaching your full terminus, you shouldn't be upset about that. Or let's say like this instance, I was tired. I got out of this trade early, and we hit our terminus. Like, you as a trader should look at that and be happy with that and be content, and understand that with due time, you'll be able to hold that trade longer. You should look at this as like a great way to develop. And you can see me here just annotating like I'm running down equity, and that's it.